Ladies and gents, how are you doing? It's a fantastic day today, a fantastic day. Because as you all know, I'm such a chippy, northern, bad-tempered prick that I would much rather be right than happy. And lo and behold, after saying it for months, the truth is finally out. Not that you'd know if you read the BBC, because if you go on Google and you type in something like, these three words, we'll just leave it at that, you don't really get any results other than men having to deny hatred and being sent to prison for Facebook posts and tweets, as you know. But if you do a little bit of digging and you get down into the weeds and you try really hard, you can find a story that is going to cover the bombshell that people like you and I have known was coming for months. But, the people that could be outwitted by a bucket of snot, i.e. the Guardian readers and everybody who's woke, were denying all along. I'm sure you can guess what it is from the thumbnail. We'll use the Wirral Globe, seeing as the BBC don't want to talk about it. Southport stabbing suspect Axel Rudu charged with terror offence. Well, blow me down with a feather. I never saw that coming 50 miles away. This was so obvious to anybody who actually pays attention to the real world. Actually engages in reality with their eyeballs and their ears. This stood out like a diplodocus in a neon yellow shell suit. Nobody could not see it. The only way you couldn't see it is if you are willfully ignorant. So, yeah. Basically everybody that works for the BBC and the British government and everybody in the Labour and Conservative parties at this point. Willfully ignorant. Yeah, stupid on purpose. I'm glad they're running the show. Right then, this has been a long time coming. I must have made 50 videos talking about it. We knew what ideology he followed. We knew he was a regular at that wonderful snack bar that everybody's always shouting about. Alan's, right? We know where he eats, breakfast, dinner and tea. And we know what ideology drives people to butcher women and children for no reason. And I'll give you a clue, it isn't the one practiced by the boring people that go to church every Sunday wearing pastel, middle-class outfits and constantly talking about peace and love. Not them. No, never has been. And again, this is why it blows my mind that we even talk about it, because it's so obvious. It shouldn't be news. They said he was a Christian from Cardiff or whatever, without mentioning that his parents were from Rwanda. So it was, a Christian from Cardiff killed a load of women and kids for no reason at all. But if you've got a higher IQ than a rat, you are well aware that, I'll just pick 10 off the top of my head. I can't even be bothered with Google. We'll do Charlie Hebdo, Madrid train bombing, London Bridge, 7/7, 9/11, Nice truck attack. That was a good one, wasn't it? The Nice truck attack squashed about 400 people like frogs, yeah? Alan's lads had a good day then, didn't they? What else? There was that priest who got his head lopped off in a church in France. Did I do the Bataclan? I forget. There was the Bataclan. That was a beauty, wasn't it? Christmas markets, Lee Rigby, Brussels and Berlin and everywhere else that begins with a B has been blew up, stabbed, shot, or butchered by the adherents of one particular religious affiliation. And it ain't the lads with the curly sideys or the ones who really, really, really love swigging Jesus juice. No, it's never them, is it? And every person that got imprisoned for saying that they thought it might be the lads who are regulars at Alan's legendary snack bar should probably be released from prison at this point, shouldn't they? Because weren't they all right? Didn't the governments and the mainstream media of the world just spend the last 3 months telling everybody that they were spreading misinformation? Didn't they do that? Essentially, hasn't the entire world been doing this for 3 months, brainwashing and lying to people aggressively because they knew exactly why this little twat killed a bunch of little innocent girls, and the government in the UK especially got more angry at the people that were upset about it than the people that did it. This is the world we're living in. Most of my videos, I try to be quite chirpy and humorous, because it's a rough time to be alive when raving lunatics with a head full of horse shit are running the entire Western world. But it's not funny, is it? Because they've essentially been gaslighting 500 million people for the last 20 years, basically. Every time there's a major atrocity in Manchester or London or Liverpool or anywhere else, the whole world gets gaslit. I honestly think it's got so bad in recent times that they really could set off a nuclear bomb, and the next day it would be everybody hug one of Alan's lads day. Or, you know what the real problem is? Phobia. A phobia of the religious lads. Yeah, we've got a phobia about them. At this point, they could do it. If they literally detonated a nuclear bomb, a small stolen WMD in the middle of Manchester and killed 100,000 people, the next day the government would say, oh, well, you can't spread misinformation about why he might have done it. Maybe he was a Christian nationalist. It's lunacy. But anyway, I'm ranting. I will at least read you the story before I go mental and poke some holes in my desk with a rage boner. All right, let's read the story. This is from the Wirral Globe, obviously, because the BBC don't want to talk about it. And if they do, they'll dress it up. You know, they'll blame it on Boy George or something. The teenager accused, Christ on a bike, of the fatal stabbing of 3 girls at a dance class has been charged with production of a deadly poison and a terror offence. Also, he's making WMDs in his bedroom as well. That's just a cherry on top. Nice one. Cheers. He's a busy little bee, isn't he? Imagine if he was working in Subway, he'd be Employee of the Month, this little shit. Axel Rudu Kanubu will appear at Westminster Magistrates Court by video link on Wednesday, charged with production of a biological toxin, ricin, and possession of information likely to be useful to a person committing or preparing to commit an act of terrorism. The charges come after searches of his home by Merseyside police, who they then sat on for months because they knew all the rioters and everybody complaining about it were right all along and none of them had spread any misinformation. Oh, but don't forget, Nick Lowles spread misinformation because he said pasty blue-eyed lads from Middlesbrough were throwing acid in people's faces because that's dead common, that, isn't it? We definitely didn't import that practice from somewhere else. No, they've always done it. They've always done that in Middlesbrough. I remember, in fact, my dad, before he married my mother, he proposed to another woman in 1974 and she rejected him, so he melted her face off with sulfuric acid, because that's what everybody does in England, where they don't have systems of dowry and state-funded misogyny. Women are banned from reading and writing and voting. Yeah, it's something they've always done in Middlesbrough, and we definitely didn't import acid attacks from third world countries that smell like the contents of Diane Abbott's bin bags. The terror offences relate to a PDF file entitled Military Studies in the word redacted against the tyrants. Oh, look, the AQ training manual. Well, twist my nipples and call me Frank. I didn't see that coming. No, I can't believe my eyes. I thought he only read the Beano. He's from Cardiff, he reads the Beano, and he did it because he's mentally ill. Yeah. That's why he did it. And if you believe that, you think Elvis and Lord Lucan are riding the Loch Ness Monster amongst the stars. You absolute plank. Rudu Kanubu was already charged with that. We know about this. If I keep reading it, I'm going to have a stroke. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not doing it. I genuinely am angry. I try to have a good crack when I'm making these videos, but I'm filled with furious rage. Yeah, I was right all along. You, dear listener, were right all along. We know why he did it. We know what ideology he follows. He was another imported butcher. And Keir Starmer and the Home Secretary and seemingly the governments of all of the Western world are more interested in the feelings of far-left activists than they are in keeping your children and wives safe from savages that practice barbarity on an order that you could not possibly imagine. I do, because I've looked all over the darkest corners of the internet to find some of the videos that went on the hands of ISIS, for example, or even old Ken Bigley when he went under a hastily enacted surgical procedure at the hands of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi when I was in Baghdad. But basically, I do know what these people practice. It is medieval butchery of women and children. And Keir Starmer thinks being polite and pleasant and blaming middle-aged women who get upset about it and locking them up for many, many years is more important, than the safety of your wives and daughters. The only plus point I can take away from it all is something that I said to J.K. Rowling on Twitter today. She tweeted this out: the Taliban banned women from hearing each other's voices, and it is a fundamental tactic of misogynist authoritarianism to prevent communication between women. Otherwise, they organise and resist. So even she didn't say the M or the I word, which I have to avoid because I'm on YouTube and frankly the platform is nowhere near as fun as it used to be. She purposely avoided the ideology that has caused this, an inherently misogynistic ideology that has a big holy book full of ways that tell you why and how you should oppress women because God really, really likes it when you do that. And even she avoided mentioning it. So this leads me to the point I'm getting to. I responded, get used to it. Because thanks to the loony left you've supported your entire life, Europe and the UK will be Eurabia by 2060. The men will be fine though, just convert and it's party time. And why am I making this point, you might think? Maybe if I've upset some of the ladies watching. Well, I'll tell you why, girls. I'll tell you why. Because if you look at the numbers, the polling numbers, all of the data, it's women that uniformly vote for far left policies and therefore fill our countries with men who adhere very, very, very strictly to a Bronze Age ideology that thinks you should have to walk around all day with a bin liner stapled to your forehead. That's why. So I'm encouraging you. I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted with most of the ladies that watch my channel. But if you happen to have a set of threepenny bits, you should be voting for the most right-wing options you possibly can. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter whether you're in Canada and you've got all the girls going, ooh, Justin's so dreamy, I'm going to vote for him. Yeah, you're going to vote for him. And then he's going to ditch 20,000 blokes in your hometown who think that if you interrupt him while he's talking, he should be able to roundhouse your lips off. These are the policies you're supporting. So, what's the point of this rambling, very angry video? Well, the main point is we've all been right for the last 3 months. Everybody in the public who knew the ideology of the attacker has been gaslighted by the public, by the government. They care more about political correctness and their woke ideology than they do about the safety of your wives and children, and you, obviously. And the wider point is, no matter where you are, whoever's going to be the most aggressively enforcing the borders, I suggest you vote for them. Because as I said to Mrs. Rowling there, I'll be fine. I'd be fine. If in 2060, well, I'll probably be too old by then. Thank God I will have flopped into my grave. But if you've got grandkids, and granddaughters especially, and you're concerned about them, tell them the blokes will be fine. If I was 25 in 2065, I'd be fine. I'd just go, yeah. I'm a regular at Allen's as well. Cheers, lads. And then the next thing, I've got 3 wives, and if either of them gob off, they get a bat in the mouth. It's not really a problem for blokes if the Taliban take over the Western world, but it's kind of a problem for you girls. So if there's any women listening, I would suggest, well, you know what to do, and you know how to vote. And here in the state, I'll give you a clue. It's for the crass orange guy who's a little bit rude, so you often go, oh, we can't vote for him, he's too rude. Well, I'd rather deal with someone who's rude and enforces the border than the guy who's slimy and polite. Sorry, now the lady who's slimy and polite. You know, the one they inserted after the gaslighted us all for 2 years and said he was perfectly healthy. Yeah, I'd rather vote for the guy who's rude than the lady who isn't, but is going to fill your entire street with blokes who would happily give you so many combinations you'd think you're as safe if you opened your mouth or looked at him the wrong way. Okay, so that's the video, a bit rambling, but yeah, we were right. Funny old thing. Yeah, didn't see that coming, did we? I hope you enjoyed that. I know it's hard to enjoy a video when you're, angry the entire time, but I did my best. All right. And yeah, as I said, keep your chins up. You've got to, haven't you? If you didn't laugh, you'd cry. I'll see you all tomorrow. Take it easy. Cheers.